What's up, everyone? So today we're doing another reading. No cards, nothing like that. Just little old me in front of the camera. It's something I'm just feeling that has to happen. The reason I'm doing this is for personal reasons. Because I've hit a little bit of a emotional block myself. And when I do these readings and I get information based on you, it often unlocks my healing as well, because sometimes I get stuck in my head as well, and I can't figure out through all the sifting gunk and nonsense. Sometimes it's just easier just to do something like this rather than to go and meditate for like a few hours. Right? 20 minutes of this versus a couple hours of meditation. It's like, okay, no, I need the meditation today because of the patience, and that's what we're going to talk about. So there's a big energy, and we know this energy has been constant and consistent, and that's why it's so infuriating. Because this energy of transition is just not fucking giving up. It's like, what the hell? When is something going to change? When is this transition going to happen? And we're all feeling that. I don't get a single, in this energy that I have here, I don't get a single one of us that is meant to move on that feels like we are actually moving on. We all feel stuck. We all feel stagnant. We all feel like, what the hell, mother frickin' universe? What goddamn else do we need to do? And it's the worst because there's a lot of us that have put so much work in over years. Now, on top of that, there is this consistent energy. It's actually an incessant. That's the word that comes through. It is an incessant energy that is just digging in all of us right now. It's everything. It's you go on the roads and there's idiot drivers on the road. You go outside and the weather is atrocious. It's appalling. You can't even, you struggle to breathe because it's so cold or because you're so hot that you sweat. You know what I mean? It feels like the whole reality, the simulation that is this physical world, it feels like it's all just right now, it's here to piss us all off. And the goal here is that we are supposed to take a step back and say, regardless of all of that, I don't want to be pissed off. So the test is that we are being asked to practice these new elements of ourselves. So remember that once you evolve and once you learn, the universe has to test you. It's not like, and I mean, it's pretty obvious to think about. Like, if you give a gift to somebody and they say, so if you give a bag of apples to somebody and they throw that on the floor, are you going to go and give them another bag of apples? No freaking way, right? They're disrespectful. They're stupid as well, okay? Okay, I need to leave my own projections out of this, okay? I've just been having a really rough time with human beings again lately. I need to leave that out. So that's my own energy, and I'm trying to keep that, but I think that's coming through. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been mentioning it like that. So there's definitely, it's this thing of like we've worked very hard, and human beings are the ones that have constantly hindered us and stopped us, and everybody thought that we were one thing, but we actually were another thing. And because they thought we were one thing, they thought they could keep pushing us down, betraying us, belittling us, so in some cases beheading us metaphorically, okay, literally like finding a way to cut us down to our absolute bare minimum so that we just are surviving. You enter survival mode just to get through. We've all had to go through that, probably even multiple times, to get to where we are now. Now, the worst part is that we have still been working on. We've still been working on ourselves through all of that. So not only has it been a really tough time in this life, but we've also still been doing more to even get even further. We've been evolving. We've been healing. We've been surrendering. We've been doing our shadow work, talking to our inner child, connecting with our higher self, learning about spirituality. We've been establishing bonds with our guardian angels. We've been, some of us are entering our twin flame period, but that's part of this transition, and that's part of why it's very complicated. Because there's a lot of twin flame energy that keeps coming up. I did readings a few nights ago, and it was just constantly crazy stuff, all this twin flame stuff. And it's twin flame stuff because it was about two people, but it was specifically about unhealed masculine energy and unhealed feminine energy. Literally every single psychic online that if I go in a reading just to see what's going on, it's like, yeah, I know what that's talking about. Everyone that is going through this transition is having it showcased to them. I mean, I think I've watched like over 10 readings, and they're all talking about the same energy. And these are different channels, different people, but it's the same repeating messages all the time. And that's because of this transition. This transition is basically for the people who are ready for it. So the people who have been evolving and had to go through those trenches to get to this point now where they can finally transition. You know, it's just hard to imagine that at this point because you probably have been imagining this for months. Some of us have been imagining it for years and it's still not manifesting. And we're like, what goddamn else do I need to do? And we're infuriated, and it's almost like we're obsessed with this energy. It's not that we're obsessed with the end result anymore. It's more like we're obsessed with the energy of the pain. So if our goal is over here, and we're back here, it feels like this line is not linear. It feels like there's no way we can cross this line. It feels like there's a cut. And it feels like the way this has to happen is through the universe. That's why all these years we've worked and worked and worked, but we're not getting there. We're not getting there. We're not. And that's because our work is not external. Our work isn't external. The reason we are advancing in this transition phase is because a part of us has come to understand that. You probably can even think about it. How many times have you tried to do something and someone cuts you down? You try to, and I don't mean things like people don't believe in you, okay? That's bullshit, because that's teaching you a lesson that you need to believe in yourself. That's an easy one. That's like nursery grade psychic healing stuff. What I'm talking about is building money and then someone steals all that money, or relying on someone and then constantly, you know, you rely on someone and they always let you down, or you rely on multiple people and every single one of them have let you down, or you thought they were one way, but it turns out they were two-faced and they were another way, and that actually hindered your progress in multiple other areas of life. You know what I mean? It hasn't just been just a forget it and move on situation for us. It's been we need to forgive them, but we also understand that has hindered our life for like the next couple of years. In some cases for us, it's been 5-6 years that we could have been somewhere where we are not because of how many times people let us down or cut us off or took resources from us. So that's the energy there. So that's the energy there, is that we feel like, so this energy is basically saying, stop whatever the hell you think you're doing and start doing what you want to do and do it consistently regardless of what your mind tells you. Essentially what this energy is actually asking of us, because we can't cut that, we can't break this wall. Why? Because this wall is humanity and society. This wall is all the doctrines, it's all the adopted karma that of the whole world. Get to a certain point, boom, no, you can't continue anymore, and it was never my fault, and it always pissed me off. Because I always felt so much untouched potential inside me. And we are all feeling that, and that's why this transition is so goddamn annoying for us. Because we feel like our whole life, since we were 6 years old, and that isn't a general statement. I truly believe that most of the people in this reading know that since 6 years old, they at least knew that they were heading into something. But your whole life, your whole existence has created nothing but doubt behind that. Because everything and everyone was placed in this world to stop you from changing the world, because you're here to change the world. Do you think a world that needs changing is going to allow you to come in and make it easy for you? No goddamn way. This world, with all its corrupt people and its assholes and its politicians who are there, specifically designed to keep you down and out of your power. Do you think that they see a powerful person and they're just going to give you your money and they're going to take as much as they possibly can from you? Because they see someone who they think can get better than they can. They are operating under demon law. They are operating under greed. They are the devil incarnate inside them when it comes to things like that. Greed, lust, all of that stuff. I don't mean lust in desire. I mean lust in rape and constant affairs and stuff like that. That is inappropriate, but that is still happening. And you know what the worst part is that we were told that our truth is stupid. So when we called people out for doing god-awful things, when we called people out for being impatient, when we did things like that and we spoke our truth, we were always shut down. or hindered more. The thing that we need to pay attention to this transition now is that if you are in this point, I'm actually getting that there are some people that are a little bit behind, and they are also transitioning, but they're transitioning in a different way. I'm getting that they're transitioning in a way that they're going to have to go back, and they're going to have to come underneath and go forward, which is exactly the kind of reading I got when I used cards for that twin flame reading. But for others of us, we realized that, so we already had to do that. And now we're at this point. So we were like middle ground, and then we had to go back and fall, and then we had to dig our way out. But now we're higher up. And that's the evolution process. So what was happening was we were repeating a karmic cycle or an ancestral cycle, whatever it is, and through that our life was here. But once we realized the cycle, or once we asked to break the cycle, the universe, whether we realized it was the universe doing us well or not, that's what happened. We went back. Okay, and then we learned our karmic lesson here. And that's why we could then more easily, I'm not going to say it was effortless, but more easily, with more faith, we could then travel like this. But you'll notice the dip. So that dip is your lack of faith. That dip is, remember that you've gone back. So it's like, God, fucking damn it, God, you've made me go back again. But as you lose your faith, you'll notice that you get back to this track. It's just that you're down here now. But lifestyle-wise, you're pretty much like, ugh. But then you move up and you're like, okay, and then you get even higher because you've built yourself out of that karmic cycle. So where you would get stuck on the plane. So remember, you could think, if you want to think psychologically, you could think Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's actually more different energy fields. So like if you have a certain element of shame from a karmic cycle, you might need to get over that, or in this case, under it. But you know what I mean? So that's exactly it. You have to break it and go under. Till you get to this point, which is where we are now. Now we're learning to go over the obstacle. But remember that obstacle is a wall. So we can get over it, but we need to get over it through the power of positive energy. When you go back, that's because there was a negative energy that you couldn't understand it, right? You knew something was happening. You knew you were constantly held back, but you weren't sure why. So it goes back for you. Now we're learning. So now we're in a transition where we're learning what the wall is, so we can then try and jump that wall. But as we do that, it's important that we remember that this transition has to happen naturally. So yes, I am getting the sense that we can jump the wall, but we have to first walk up to the wall. We then have to analyze the wall. We then have to see if we need equipment for the wall. That we then have to go and get the equipment. So it's a long, gradual process, but at least we can stay where we are. So we don't have to do the back and then down again. Some of you, like I said, there's I don't know, believe it or not, I'm like a psychic dude, but I don't know cards and stuff. So I don't know pentacles and stuff like that, but I am getting a 9 of pentacles energy back. I don't even know what that means. If I'm being dead honest, I don't even know what card things mean. I just know that when I pull my cards, a certain energy comes with it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that means. It might be that you've gotten to a point where it feels like your alchemizing isn't working. It feels like all your internal work, it feels like you're losing patience. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like patience is starting to dwindle. And I guess this whole reading actually is just a reminder to all of you that don't let your patience dwindle. Don't let it. If you need a break, take a break, but don't stop. And if you do want to do something new, start it, and start it soon. And build it with blind faith and complete compassion, care, and love. Not with the desire of an end goal, and not with the lust for an outcome of any sort. You're building it because you want to build it. This is the mindset you got to use now. So if I am super abundant and I have all the money in the world and I have everything I could ever want, if I were living my ultimate life, what would I want to do? And that's how you can figure out what you got to do then. It's just that the whole what do I want to do thing, you do need to make sure that it is working if you want to build a life for yourself, right? Then you need to make sure that it's working towards that. So you do that visualization for a manifestation. You're like, if I did have everything in the world, what would I be doing right now? And then you pick something, and then you're like, is that worth my time? So the next step then is to identify what you want to prioritize. So you can then be like, well, I know that if I did do that now, I wouldn't be able to work towards that life that I just imagined for myself. So for example, for me, it would be the whole reason I started gaming on YouTube is because I would play my video games and I would feel completely like I'm wasting my time. And then I realized, okay, but what if I do that and I make it productive and I start doing it online? I hope eventually something will happen. So it's all about that hope, it's all about building it with love and hoping something happens. Now, of course, that does mean later on, if you build it with enough love and you're consistent enough, what's going to happen is something's going to fall in your lap and it's going to propel you forwards. Whether it's an idea or inspiration of some sort or just a goddamn opportunity. Some of us are going to get lucky with opportunities. Some of us are not. Some of us have to make our own opportunities. But most of us are prepared to do that now because we've had to do that our whole lives. So it feels like, well, God, fine. I will just keep doing what I'm doing and I will just keep taking everything I want to take because right now humanity sucks and everybody thinks they know better than me, but it's clear that they don't. That's how a lot of us feel. Very in particular, you feel like humanity is just a waste of time at this point. And that's another thing that we need to touch on then, because humanity isn't a waste of time, and you know that because you're part of humanity and you're evolving yourself. Remember that as you evolve as your human self, think of it this way. The only people that could be evolving now are the most strong people, because those are the people that have to break the cycles. Anybody who evolves from now onwards has an easier time because it's more the norm. Think about if you came out as gay in the 70s, 80s, 90s. If you come out as gay now, if you come out as transgender now, people are like, oh, that's cool. Carry on with their day. That's how it works. We're breaking the spiritual evolution cycles. We're spiritual in inverted commas because it doesn't have to be spiritual in your mind and it doesn't have to be religious either. It just has to be the understanding that esotericism exists. And I don't mean esotericism exists in the way that weird woo-woo wacky stuff means. I mean scientifically. This isn't about people that don't believe in this stuff, so I'm not going to freaking prove my point, okay? Research stuff if you really need to. Go and research stuff, alright? Psychic stuff is everywhere. Literally, my videos will have synchronicities in it that don't make sense, and you will still see them. And it's just because our world is just representing what's on the outside. And remember, 2024 came in with completely new energy. I didn't know why. Everybody always said, you're a psychic, you're a psychic, you're a psychic. Since I was 6 years old, I knew I had abilities, I knew I could do stuff, I knew I could feel things, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. Only when 2024 came around did I start really understanding my psychic powers. And the reason being is because some of us are not your standard psychics. You see me able to do this stuff without cards. And I don't have to have an altar that has energy space. I can go anywhere and I can bring this energy to me. And I can visualize and I can manifest. And stuff like that. And I don't mean manifest in the way of bring this to me. I mean manifest in the way of I sit back and I do what I want and things come to me. And that is all your 2024 energies. So the 2024 energies are about it's the new tides of energies. It's the new way of growing all the psychic stuff. But that's a reading for another time. That's not actually a reading. That's more like information. And I don't feel like being a psychic teacher right now. I just want to do the readings. We're just going to continue with this. So there's that lack of patience, lack of trust, vulnerability. So you're definitely feeling more vulnerable now, that you feel like you're able to be more vulnerable. So you're able to be more vulnerable. You're talking to your angels more. You're less afraid of your psychic things as well, which is allowing the vulnerability to proceed. That vulnerability is bringing out all the dormant, stagnant energy that's been inside you. Because now that you're being vulnerable, it's like you're expressing things that you didn't express before. And as you do that, it becomes easier for you yourself to see your darkness inside you. And that makes it easier for you to then heal your shadow. That's what your shadow is, your darkness. I talked in a previous reading, a previous lesson. I spoke about if you imagine yourself being a maze and you go with your torch and you walk through the maze, there are parts of the maze that you don't like. But you should still walk through it with the torch and see what's around, because that's how you bring light to the shadow. And then the light parts of you, the parts that you do like, that you want to be part of your facade, but it's more like you're open about it. So your open personality experience for other people around you, choose to bring those to the forefront, and those are then your non-shadow elements. All right, and everybody thinks the shadow is bad, but no, the shadow is just anything that's hidden from you, and you know this because people can react on very negative emotions. So like you can get super angry at somebody, but it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that there's a shadow inside them, or there's a part of them that they're not reflecting on, that's to do with anger or to do with the situation that brought the anger about. So the vulnerability is a good thing. Truth is probably the biggest thing coming out right now. I think through this transition phase, most people, especially those I don't know if it's 9 of Wands or if it's 9 of Pentacles, but those peeps, you guys need to start being honest. I don't like the words need to, but that's pretty much the case. It's time for you to be honest. And it's time for you to trust as well. So this trust isn't just about you. This is a whole yin-yang trust. This is a full energy bubble here. And on the... Okay, let's see if we can break that up. So in the yin side and the yang side. So your yang side is about taking your actions based on soul and intuition rather than on ego. So maybe there's something that you want to do, or there's an action you need to take, but there's something still stopping you. Like, for example, for me, I know that I want to give this computer away. It's something that I really want to do, but I'm really afraid to do that because I went 7 years working towards having a computer like this. So for me to, even though I am abundant now, for me to just give it away, it's terrifying. And there are some of you that need to do that. There are some of you that need to do other actions. So what's this energy here? Okay, I think they're saying that I pretty much established that. Oh, the trust. Right, so the trust. Let's do the full bubble again, and let's see the bubble as a whole. So this bubble is saying that there are parts of you that don't trust yourself. There's parts of you that don't trust other people. There's parts of you that are afraid to approach somebody or take a chance or do something like that. There's a risk involved. Right? There's a risk involved. And it's not necessarily, in fact, you probably know a lot just came in. So firstly, you probably know that this risk is going to pan out into something worthwhile, even though you're so afraid to do it. But guys, like, this is a very physical form of this. There's stuff coming in about like relationship building and being honest with yourself and being integral in relationships. Choosing as well. There's a choice. There's choosing. There's a choice. There's choosing processes going on. So this transition for those dudes, they get to choose now. What do they want? Do they want to go back? So that's what's going on. Oh, that's why this bubble is here. So they get to decide now if they're going to go back and reprioritize, because it feels like they formed something. So it feels like there's a commitment or a connection made. And it feels like something came in and kind of disrupted that. So now they want to kind of reprioritize so that they can get up here. But they realize they can't do that if they're down here. So it's like they're making a choice. Am I going this way and just gonna stick it out, or am I going to trust? That's why they didn't want to show this energy, because you can trust that way if you wanna. I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. You all have free will, right? Same with me, I suppose. Or you can do this again and do that. So it's like, yeah, I have this awesome thing, or I could go back a little bit, just make sure that I have just enough. I don't need the super fancy amazing, just what I need, and then work from there. And even if it means going down a little bit again, that's fine, because I don't have to go down here, and that's going to work out the same for most of you. There are some of you, though, that are still down here, it feels like, but that's fine, because remember, you're a 9, so you had to do like 9 things. I don't know if that's how really it works. Okay, if I'm being honest, when it comes, like I said, when it comes to the cards, I'm not sure about the whole processes, but it does feel like you've already gone through, and it does specifically feel like you've already gone through 9 processes like this. So, what's the 10th one? You know, what's the harm? Oh no, it feels like this is your 9th. So that means for us up here, that is for the 10th. So finally, so on the 10, everything about the 10 is basically it's like your energy has become solid. It's like you can rely on yourself now, so you don't need to worry about being hindered by people. As a result, people see that in you now, and even the people, so this is what's happening. God, there's a lot coming in. So there's a group of people, and maybe many people who were smack talking you, back chatting you. In fact, it feels like you had a life of this. Again, because if you're evolving at this point now, it's because you came in with the intention of opening people's wounds. And you will have realized now that 2024's energy is a little bit different. People are changing. But up until this point, everybody had a wound open and they would attack you for it. So you got to feel like you were the problem. You always got to feel like you were the issue, you were the problem. And that's why it became hard for you to speak your truth. Because when you told the truth, which was the truth, and you know it is because you could see what was going on a higher level, you could find the root cause of an issue, and you could be like, hey, I can fix that. But nobody would listen to you. So you felt worthless. You've now built yourself, regardless of that shit, you've built yourself back to this point. You now get to make that leap. So you can make that leap. So this reading is no wonder. So it's definitely coming in for a lot of people because I've now got people coming in my energy that are even down here. So there are people who are stuck at about a 6. I think it is. It's about a 6. One of my friends has come in with her energy down here at a 6 as well. But I know that she is because she was relying on community. So that's one big thing. But that just came out actually is the whole community. And trusting yourself and trusting you're making the right choices or prioritizing properly. You know what I mean? But yeah, so there's definitely peeps that are a 6 down here. I don't have my cards on me. They're asking for cards. Nope, I don't have my cards. Give me... dude, but if I do a card reading, it's going to go a long time. Hey guys, so this was already a pretty big reading and there was a lot of information in here. The reason the cards came up will be evident to you after this reading, so I will put that video. It is its own standalone video now, but I will put that video probably in the link of this description or something like that. But what I'll do is I'll just try and link it. But I don't think it's completely necessary that you move straight onto that video. In fact, what's happening is that all the energy that's combining right now is just showing us consistency in our readings. So even though the readings are all different and do present different things, the fact is the elements of the readings are the same. So we're pulling a lot of similar cards. There's a lot of similar circumstances and situations coming up. We also know about the twin flames and we know about things like that. There's a lot of like flowing, repetitive flowing cycles that we can see in the energy playing out around us in society nowadays and in this whole evolution process. So there's a lot more coming out than what you just got from this video, okay? But I thought I would start with this one just so you guys can see, kind of get a glimpse of what I'm doing with this whole psychic thing. I do use cards a lot more now than I used to, just because it's a lot easier to just, it's a lot more of a tool, so it's a lot more of a sifting focus energy rather than trying to absorb. Like you saw in this one, I was picking up on a lot of different people's, whereas the cards present the energy that needs to come out. So it's easier to know exactly what to talk about. Okay, guys. So yes, you can go and check out that next card reading. It was a pretty interesting one, but I'm not going to lie. Pretty much all of them are interesting now. I'm even starting to use cards in a little bit of a different way. Things like throwing them on the floor or on a surface and seeing how they present themselves, things like that. Because I'm finding that there's a lot more intuition that we can use in these things than what we have been taught from previous tarot readings. Okay. Cool. I hope you enjoy all of that stuff. Go ahead and check it out. Yes, there is a twin flame expansion. There is a soul. It's like soul bond expansion. So you might be meeting a twin flame or a soul connection, or you might be meeting your soul tribe. But that is all creating an expansion within you or within a lot of people. You might be one of those members of the soul tribe. So you might be someone helping somebody else with their evolution as well. But that's pretty much what's going on right now. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.